All right. So let's look here. So today, be blessed. How's everyone? Hope everybody's good. If anybody watches this, um, so today we're gonna look at Abraham, right, and other things that are written about Abraham. Almost not in like you wouldn't be able to pick up the 66 books of the Bible and know this part of Abraham, right, so to speak. Now, if you look at Wikipedia, it says that what I hold in my hand probably is dated around 70 to 150 AD. So that's after the death of Christ. Um, but it does say it could stem from traditional writings, possibly kept from the time of Abraham. So I'm going to read the Apocalypse of Abraham. But also, there's a story based upon this too in the book of Jasher, which there's no real background to Jasher. It's not even known to be a Jewish book. It's rejected by Jews and Christians alike. But it has a lot of information in it, like about the 12 tribes and stuff like that. Like I was just looking at it, glancing at it before, and it had a part where Abraham called all his sons. He called Ishmael, he called Isaac, he called, I think it was 8 altogether, but he called them from the different groups and brought them together and told them what God's plan was and to treat everybody nice and to love your neighbor. He was saying this. This is crazy. To his sons, all his sons. He didn't just call Isaac. All right, anyway. All right, the Apocalypse of Abraham. This is actually interesting. Like this is, and listen, when I'm reading this stuff, like stuff like this, I got the PDF. Stuff like this, or even Nag Hammadi, anything I'm reading outside of the Bible, some of it, yeah, I can say it like that. Some of it, I don't understand why they don't want us to read it, because it strengthened my faith in a creator like that, in a create all ancient, anything from ancient times, anything ancient civil, anything is always talking about gods or God. So like that's a common denominator, right? The atheist thing is like a new thing, and plus atheist was used in all type of different ways. A Christian was called an atheist at the time that Christians started coming up. It's a word game. Sometimes it's a word game. It's like some of those you like there's some videos I've watched on YouTube where there's pastors breaking out word games like Hollywood and entertainment, breaking these things down that makes you think like, oh my God, somebody's casting a spell on us. Straight up, I'm telling you. All right. I'm not going to read the introduction and stuff. I'm going to just go right into it. Introduction. So, it was preserved in old Slavonic literature. It fell in 2 different parts. It's Abraham's conversion from idolatry, which has several particular features. And it got a revelation in it about Abraham's future race. I'm trying to just get to. And it says the Slavonic text, it is obvious, was made from a Greek version, which no doubt was current in Constantinople. It is probable, however, that the Greek text underlying the Slavic was in itself a translation of a Semitic original. So some historians think it was carried on from Abraham's day. Damn, there's a lot of introductions. Half the damn book. That's crazy. I don't know what it is. What the hell? Too much. I missed the page or something. Look for that. I'm sorry. I put it. Oh, you know what? I'm tripping out. Because I already separated it, and I'm over here trying to separate it. All right, so the book of Revelation, the book of the revelation of Abraham, the son of Terah, the son of Nahor, the son of Segrug, the son of Rug, or Ru, the son of Arphax, the son of Shem, and the son of Noah, the son of Lamech, the son of Methuselah, the son of Enoch, the son of Arad. All right, Abraham's conversion from idolatry. On the day when I planned the gods of my father Terah and the gods of Nahor, his brother, when I was searching as to who the mighty God in truth is, I, Abraham, at the time when it fell to my lot, when I fulfilled the services of my father Terah to his gods of wood and stone, gold and silver, brass and iron, having entered into their temple for service, I found the God whose name was Merumath, which was hewn out of stone. Hewn, made out of stone, fallen forward at the feet of the iron god Nahon. And it came to pass when I saw it, my heart was perplexed, and I considered in my mind that I should not be able to bring him back to his place, I, Abraham, alone, because he was heavy, being a large stone. And I went forth and made it known to my father, and he entered with me. And when both of us moved him, the God, forward, so that we might bring him back to his place, his head fell from him while I was still holding him by the head. And it came to pass when my father saw that the head of Mermath had fallen from him, he said to me, Abraham, as I said, here am I. And he said to me, bring me an axe of the small ones from the house. And I brought it to him. And he hewed another Mermath out of another stone. So he molded another, he made another one, Mermath, out of another stone without head. And the head which had been thrown down from Mermath, he placed upon it, and the rest of the Mermath he shattered. And he made 5 other gods and gave them to me, commanded me to sell them outside in the street of the town. And I saddled my father's ass and placed them upon it, and went towards the end to sell them. And lo, merchants from Ferdana in Syria were traveling with camels going to Egypt to trade, and I spoke with them. And one of their camels uttered a groan, and the ass took fright and sprang away and upset the gods. And 3 of them were smashed, and 2 were preserved. And it came to pass, when the Syrians saw that I had gods, they said to me, why didst thou not tell us that thou hast gods? Then we would have bought them. Before the ass heard the sound of the camel, and they would not have been lost. Give us at any rate the gods that remain, and we will give thee the proper price for the broken gods, also for the gods that have been preserved. For I was concerned in my heart as to how I could bring to my father the purchase price. And the 3 broken ones I cast into the water of the river Gur, which was at that place, and they sank into the depths, and there was nothing more of them. When I was still going on the way, my heart was perplexed within me, and my mind was distracted. And I saw in my heart, behold, murmur fell and could not. What was that? I saw in my heart, what evil deed is this that my father is doing? Is not he rather the God of his gods, since they come into existence through his chisel and laughs and his wisdom, and is not rather fitting that they should worship my father, since they are his work? What is this delusion of my father and his works? Behold, Mermath fell and could not rise in his own temple, nor could I by myself move him until my father came, and the 2 of us moved him. And as we were thus too weak, his head fell from him, and he, my father, set it upon another stone. Set it on another stone, another god, which he had made without head. And the other 5 gods were broken in pieces down from the ass, which were able neither to help themselves, nor to hurt the ass, because it had broken them to pieces. Nor did their broken fragments come out of the river. And I said in my heart, if this be so, how can Mermath, my father's god, having the head of another stone, and himself being made of another stone, rescue a man or hear a man's prayer and reward him? Wow, that's deep stuff. That's like, if you got them ears to hear and them eyes to see, that's deep right there. And while I And while I cognited on this, so while he's thinking about this, I reached my father's house, and having watered the ass and set out hay for it, I brought the silver and gave it into the hand of my father Terah. When he saw it, he was glad, and he said, "Blessed art thou, Abraham, of my gods, because thou hast brought the price of the gods, so that my work was not in vain." And I answered and said to him, "Hear, O my father Terah, blessed are the gods of thee, for thou art their God, since thou hast made them, for their blessings is ruination, and their power is vain. They who did not help themselves, how shall they then help thee or bless me? I have been kind to thee in this affair, because by using my intelligence, I have brought thee the money for the broken gods." And when he heard my word, he became furiously angry with me, because I have spoken hard words against his gods. I, however, having thought over my father's anger, went out. And after I had gone out, my father cried, saying, "Abraham." And I said, "Here am I." And he said, "Take and collect the splinters of the wood, out of which I made gods of pine wood before thou comest, and make ready for me the food of the midday meal." And it came to pass, when I collected the splinters of wood, I found under them a little god which had been lying among the brushwood on my left, and on his forehead was written, "God Baraset." And I did not inform my father that I found the wooden god, Baraset, under the chips. And it came to pass, when I had laid the splinters in the fire, in order that I might make ready food for my father, on going out to ask a question regarding the food, I placed Baras before the kindled fire, saying threateningly to him, "Pay careful attention, Baras, that the fire do not die down until I come. If, however, it dieth down, blow it out, and that it may burn up again." And I went out and accomplished my purpose. And on returning, I found Baras fallen backwards, and his feet surrounded by fire and horribly burnt. I burst into a fit of laughter, and I said, "No, myself, truly, O Baras, thou canst kindle the fire and cook food." And it came to pass, while I spake thus in my laughter, he, Baras, was gradually burnt up by the fire and reduced to ashes. And I brought the food to my father, and he did eat. And I gave him wine and milk, and he was gladdened and blessed his god Mermath. And I said to him, "O father Terah, bless not thy god Mermath, and praise him not, but rather praise thy god Baras, because loving thee more, he hath cast himself into the fire to cook thy food." And he said to me, "And where is he now?" And I said, "He is burnt to ashes in the violence of the fire, and is reduced to dust." And he said, "Great is the power of Baras. I will make another today, and tomorrow he will prepare my food." When I, Abraham, however, heard such words from my father, I laughed in my mind and sighed in the grief and in the anger of my soul, and said, "How can that which is made by him manufacture stones by a helper of my father? Or shall the body then be subject to its soul, and the soul to the spirit, and the spirit to the folly and ignorance?" And I said, "Is it fitting once to endure evil? So I will direct my mind to what is pure, and lay my thoughts open before him." And I answered and said, "O father Terah, whichever of these thou praises as a god, thou art foolish in thy mind. Behold, the gods of thy brother Ora, which stand in the holy temple, are more worthy of honor than these of thine. For behold, Zacchaeus, the god of thy brother Orin, is more worthy of honor than thy god Mermath, than his god Mermath, because he is made of gold, which is highly valued by people. And when he groweth old in years, he will be remodeled. But if your god Mermath is changed or broken, he will not be renewed, because he is stone. The which is also the case with the god Jovan, who standeth with Zacchaeus over the other gods. How much more worthy of honor is he than the god Barast, or who is made of wood, while he is forged of silver? How is he made? By adaptation of man, valuable to outward appearance. But thy god Barast, while he was still, before he had been prepared, rooted up upon the earth, and was great and wonderful with the glory of branches and blossoms. Thou didst hew out with the axe, and by means of thy art he hath been made into a god. And lo, his fatness is already withered and perished. He is fallen from the height to the ground. He hath come from great estate to littleness, and the appearance of his continents had vanished, and he, Boraz himself, is burnt up by the fire and reduced to ashes, and is no more. And thou sayest, today I will make another, which tomorrow shall make ready my food. He hath perished to utter destruction. Behold, the fire is more worthy of honor than all things formed, because even that which is not subjected unto it, and things easily perishable are mocked by its flames. But even more worthy of honor is the water, because it conquereth the fire and satisfieth the earth. But even it I do not call God, because it is subjected to the earth, under which the water inclineth. But I call the earth much more worthy of honor, because it overpowereth the nature and the fullness of the water. Even it, the earth, however, I do not call God, because it too is dried up by the sun, and is appointed to man to be tilled. I call the sun more worthy of honor than the earth, because it, with its rays, illumineth the whole earth in the different atmospheres. But even it I do not call God, because at night by the clouds its courses is obscured. Not again do I call the moon, not nor again do I call the moon of or the stars God, because they also in their season obscure their light at night. But hear this, Terah, my father, for I will make known to thee the God who hath made everything. Not these we consider as gods. Who then is he? What is he? Who hath crimsoned the heavens and made the sun golden and the moon lustrous, and with its stars, and hath made the earth dry in the midst of many waters, and set thee in, and tested me in confusion of my thoughts. Yet may God reveal himself to us through himself. And it came to pass, while I spake thus to my father Terah in the court of my house, there cometh down the voice of a mighty one from heaven in a fiery cloudburst, saying and crying, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, here am I. And he said, thou art seeking in the understanding of thine heart, the God of gods and the creator. Right. So look, that was like a story of what Moses, right? Moses had the burning bush. That's craziness. So but look, if you notice, it says there cometh down the voice of a mighty one from heaven in a fiery cloud burst. That was in Abraham's mind, so to speak. Right? No one else saw the burst. God of gods and the creator, I am he. Go out from thy father Terah, and get thee out from the house, that thou also be not slain in the sins of thy father's house. And I went out, and it came to pass, when I went out, that before I succeeded in getting out in front of the door of the court, there came a second of a great thunder, and burnt him and his house, and everything whatsoever in his house, down to the ground 40 cubits. All right, so I don't know why that said it burnt down. Did that say it burnt down his daddy's house? It did. All right. All right. So part 2. Abraham receives a divine command to offer sacrifice after 40 days as a preparation for a divine revelation. Then a voice came to me speaking twice, Abraham, Abraham. And I said, here am I. And he said, behold, it is I. Fear not, for I am before the worlds, and a mighty God who hath created the light of the world. I am a shield over thee, and I am thy helper. Go take me a young heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove and a pigeon, and bring me a pure sacrifice. And in this sacrifice I will lay before thee the ages to come, and make known to thee what is reserved, and thou shalt see great things which thou hast not seen hitherto, because thou hast loved to search me out, and I have named thee my friend. But abstain from every fond of food there that proceedeth out of the fire, and from the drinking of wine, and from anointing thyself with oil 40 days. And then set forth for me the sacrifice which I have commanded thee in the place which I will show thee, and on a high mountain. And there I will show thee the ages which have been created and established, made and renewed by my word. And I will make known to thee And I will make known to thee what shall come to pass in them who to what will pass in them on those who have done evil and practice righteous in the generation of men. Abraham, under the direction of the angel of Joel, proceeds to Mount Horeb at a journey of 40 days to offer the sacrifice. And it came to pass, when I heard the voice of him who spake such words to me, I looked hither and thither, and lo, and there was no bread of a man. And my spirit was affrighted, and my soul fled from me. And I became like a stone, and fell down upon the earth, for I had no more strength to stand on the earth. And while I was still lying with my face upon the earth, I heard the voice of the Holy One speaking, Go, Joel, and by means of my infallible name, rise me yonder man, and strengthen him, so that he recover from his trembling. And the angel came, whom he had sent to me, in the likeness of a man, and grasped me by my right hand, and set me upon my feet, and said to me, Stand up, Abraham, friend of God, who loveth thee. Let not the trembling of man seize thee. For lo, I have been sent to thee to strengthen thee, and bless thee in the name of God, who loveth thee, the creator of this celestial and terrestrial. Be fearless and hasten to him. I am called Joel, by him who moveth that which existeth with me on the seventh expanse upon the firmament, a power and virtue of the ineffable name that is dwelling in me. I am. The angel said to him, I am the one who hath been given to restrain according to his commandments, or his commandment, that the threatening attack of the living creatures of the cherubim against one another, and teach those who carry him the song of the seventh hour of the night of man. I am ordained to restrain to I am what? I am ordained to restrain the Leviathan, for unto me are subject Leviathan. Leviathan. That's like an angel thing. For unto me are subject the attack and menace of every single reptile. I am he who hath been commissioned to loosen Hades, to destroy him who stareth at the dead. I am the one who was commissioned to set on fire thy father's house together with him, because he displayed. There's a lot of side notes up in here. You gotta read this stuff for yourself too, if you get curious. That stuff is deep. Because he displayed reverence for the dead idols. I have been sent to bless thee now, and the land which the Eternal One, whom thou hast invoked, hath prepared for thee. And for thy sake have I wended my way upon the earth. Stand up, Abraham, go without fear. Be right, glad, and rejoice, and I am with thee. For eternal honor hath been prepared for thee by the Eternal One. Go fulfill the sacrifices commanded, for lo, I have been appointed to be with thee, and with the generation prepared to spring from thee. And with me, Michael, blessed thee forever. Be of good cheer. And I rose up and saw him who grasped me by the right hand, and set me upon my feet. And the appearance of his body was like sapphire, and the look of his countenance like charsolite, and the hair of his head like snow, and the turban upon his head like the appearance of the rainbow, and the clothing of his garments like purple, and golden scepter was in his right hand. He said to me, Abraham. And I said, Here am I, thy servant. And he said, Let not my look affright thee, nor my speech, that thy soul be not perturbed. Come with me, and I will go with thee until the sacrifice, visible, but after the sacrifice, invisible forever. Be of good cheer and come. And we went, the two of us together, 40 days and nights, and I ate no bread and drank no water, because my food was to see the angel who was with me. And his speech, that was my drink. And we came to the mount of God, the glorious Horeb. And I said to the angel, Singer of the Eternal One, Lo, I have no sacrifice with me, nor am I aware of a place of an altar on the mountain. How can I bring a sacrifice? And he said to me, Look round. And I looked round, and lo, there were following us all the prescribed sacrificial animals, the young heifer, the she-goat, the ram, the turtle dove, and the pigeon. And the angel said to me, Abraham, I said, Here am I. And he said to me, All these slaughter and divide it. And he said, All these slaughter and divide the animals into halves, one against the other. but the birds do not sever. And but give to the men whom I will show thee, standing by thee, for these are the altar upon the mountain, to offer a sacrifice to the eternal. But the turtle dove and the pigeon give to me, for I will ascend upon the wings of the bird, in order to show thee in heaven, and on the earth, and in the sea, and in the abyss, and in the underworld, and in the garden of Eden, and in its rivers, and in the fullness of the whole world, in its circle. Thou shalt gaze in them all. Right? So that's one part of Abraham's life. Oh, yeah, we're going to keep going further. So now Abraham accomplishes the sacrifice under the guidance of the angel and refuses to be diverted from his purpose by Aziel. Now, Aziel is important because that in some scriptures, that's Satan. I'm pretty sure. Or that's one of Satan's close friends. All right, so, and I did everything according to the commandment of the angel and gave the angel who had come to us the divided animals. But the angel took the birds, and I waited for the evening sacrifice, and there flew an unclean bird down upon the carcasses, and I drove it away. And then the unclean bird spake to me and said, What dost thou? What doest thou, Abraham, upon the holy heights, where no man eateth or drinketh, neither is there upon them any food of man, but these consume everything with fire and will burn thee up. Forsake the man who is with thee and flee, for it, if thou ascendest to the heights, they will make an end of thee. And it came to pass, when I saw the bird speak, I said to the angel, What is this, my Lord? And he said, This is ungodliness. This is Aziel. And he said to it, Disgrace upon thee, Aziel, for Abraham's lot is in heaven, but thine upon the earth, because thou hast chosen and loved this for the dwelling place, and thine uncleanness, therefore the eternal mighty Lord made thee a dweller upon the earth, and through thee every evil spirit of lies, and through thee wrath and trials for the generations of ungodly men. For God, the eternal mighty, hath not permitted that the bodies of the righteous should be in thy hand, in order that thereby the life of the righteous and the destruction of the unclean may be assured. Hear, friend, be gone with shame from me. For it hath not been given to thee to play the tempter in regarding to all the righteous. Depart from this man. Thou canst not lead him astray, because he is an enemy to thee and of those who follow thee, and love what thou willest. For behold, the vesture which in heaven was formerly thine hath been set aside for him, and the mortality which was his hath been transferred to thee. The angel said to me, Abraham, and I said, Here am I, thy servant. And he said, Know from henceforth that the Eternal One hath chosen thee, he whom thou lovest. Be of good courage and use this authority so far as I bid thee, against him who slandereth truth. Should I not be able to put him to shame, which hath scattered over the earth the secrets of heaven, and hath rebelled against the mighty one? Say to him, Be thou the burning coal of the furnace of the earth. Go, Aziel, into the inaccessible parts of the earth. For thy heritage is to be over those existing with thee, being born with the stars and clouds, with the men whose portion thou art, and who through thy being exists, and thy is justification. One that on this account by the perdition disappear from me. And I uttered the words which the angel had taught me. And he said, Abraham. And I said, Here am I, thy servant. And the angel said to me, Answer him not, for God hath given him power. You hear that? God hath given him power, the Aziel. Lit will over those who do answer him. And the angel spake to me a second time and said, Now rather, however much he speak to thee, answer him not, that his will may have no free course in thee, because the eternal and mighty one hath given him weight and will. Answer him not. I did what was commanded me by the angel, and however much he spake to me, I answered him nothing whatsoever. So look, that's like Abraham's instruction on how to deal with Satan, the evil in the world. Don't even answer him. Pay it no mind, because once you start paying it mind, you give it power. Right? It's almost like who the reason why they don't want you reading this stuff and understanding this stuff is almost for that reason, because they don't want to know how powerful you are, because then you take away their power. A king can't be a king without peasants. I gotta find that other Abraham one. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me see something. All right, yeah, this is the one right here. I don't know where I did with my copy, but I'm gonna read it off the thing, right? So this is another version. This is like kind of when Abraham was born. So it's almost like how it tells you about the world. With King Nimrod, that's a Bible figure. That's a worldly figure. King Nimrod. He was known to be the first king of the whole world. All right. So Nimrod's humble heritage. Nimrod, the mighty hunter, was one of the sons of Cush. Cush was the son of Ham, the lowest and least important of Noah's 3 sons. Nimrod came from a line which was cursed by Noah, cursed by Canaan. A slave of slaves shall he be unto his brothers. Right? By birth, Nimrod had no right to be a king or a ruler, but he was a mighty strong man and a sly and tricky, and a great hunter and trapper of men and animals. His followers grew in number, and soon Nimrod became the mighty king of Babylon, and his empire extended over other great cities. As was to be expected, Nimrod did not feel very secure on his throne. He feared that one day there would appear a descendant of Noah's heir and successor, Shem, and would claim the throne. He was determined to have no challengers. Some of Shem's descendants had already been forced to leave that land and build their own cities and empires. There was only one prominent member of the Semitic family left in his country. He was Terah, and the son of Nahor. Terah was the 8th generation removed and a direct line of descendants from Shem. But Nimrod had nothing to fear from Terah, his most loyal and trusted servant. Terah had long before betrayed his family and had become a follower of Nimrod. All of his ancestors were still living, including Shem himself. But Terah left his ancestral home and became attached to Nimrod. Terah, who should have been the master, and Nimrod, his slave, became the slave of Nimrod. Like the other people in that country, Terah believed that Nimrod received his kingdom as a gift from the gods and was himself a god. Terah was prepared to serve Nimrod with all his heart. Indeed, he proved himself a very loyal and useful servant. Nimrod entrusted into his hands the command of his armies and made Terah the highest minister of his lands. All right, so just backtrack for a second to the other thing I read. So if you notice, Abraham did 40 days and 40 nights without eating or drinking. I just wanted to bring that up. And he was tempted by the devil, but the angel told him, pay the devil no mind. All right. So Terah was short of nothing but a wife. So he found himself a wife whose name was Amathlia. They looked forward to raising a large family, but they were not blessed with any children. The years flew by, and Terah still had no son. His father was only 29 years old when Terah was born, but Terah was getting closer to 70 than to 30, and yet there was no son. He prayed to Nimrod and to his idols to bless him with the son, but his prayers were not answered. Little did he know that Nimrod felt happy about Terah's misfortune. For although Nimrod had nothing to fear from Terah, he could not be sure if Terah's sons would be as loyal to him as their father. Therefore, he was inwardly very pleased that his servant Terah had no children and probably would never have any, but he could not be sure, and Nimrod was not taking chances. He ordered his stargazers and astrologers to watch the sky for any sign of the appearance of a possible rival. The rise of Abraham. One night, the stargazers noticed a new star rising in the east. Every night it grew brighter. They informed Nimrod. Let me just take a sip. All right, so they informed Nimrod they saw the star. Nimrod called together his magicians and astrologers. They all agreed that it meant that a new baby was to be born with who might challenge Nimrod's power. It was decided that in order to prevent this, all newborn baby boys would have to die, starting with the king's own palace down to the humblest slave's hut. And who was to be put in charge of this important task? Why, Terah, of course, the king's most trusted servant. Terah sent out his men to round up all expectant mothers. The king's palace was turned into a gigantic maternity ward. A lucky mother gave birth to a girl, and then they were both sent home, laden with gifts. But if the baby happened to be a boy, he was put to death without mercy. One night, Nimrod's stargazers watching that new star saw it grow very bright and suddenly dart across the sky, first in one direction, then in another, west, east, north, and south, swallowing up all other stars in its path. Nimrod was with his stargazers on the roof of his palace and saw the strange display in the sky with his own eyes. What is this meaning of this? He demanded. There can only be one explanation. A son was born tonight who would challenge the king's power, and the father is none other than Terah. This is a different version. Terah, Nimrod roared, my own trusted servant. Nimrod's rage. Nimrod had never given a thought to Terah as becoming a father at the age of 70. However, if he did become a father, he would surely be glad to offer his firstborn son to his king and God. Nimrod dispatched a messenger to Terah at once, ordering him to appear together with his newly born son. That night, Terah and his wife, Amaphle, had indeed become the happy parents of a baby boy who brought a great light and radiance into their home. Terah had hoped it would be a girl, and he would have no terrible decision to make. Now he could not think of giving up this lovely baby boy. This baby born to him at his own age after such longing. He had managed to keep his wife's expectancy a secret. None of his servants knew about the birth of his son. There was a secret passage leading from his palace to a cave in the field. He took the baby to that cave and left it there. And as he was returning to the palace, past the servants' quarters, he suddenly heard the cry of a baby. What good fortune, Terah cried. It so happened that one of his servants had given birth to a boy about the same time as his own son was born. Terah took the baby and put him in silk swaddling and handed him to his wife to nurse. Just then the king's messenger arrived. When Terah, with the baby in his arms, appeared before Nimrod, Terah declared, I was about to bring my son to you when your messenger came. Nimrod thought it was mighty loyal of Terah to give up his only son, born to him in his old age. Little did he know that it was not Terah's son who was brought to die, but a servant's. Abraham emerges. For 3 years, little Abraham remained in the cave where he did not know day from night. Then he came out of the cave and saw the bright sun in the sky and thought that it was God, I guess, who created the heaven and the earth and him too. But in the evening, the sun went down and the moon rose in the sky, surrounded by myriads of stars. This must be Abraham. This must be God, Abraham decided. This is 3 years old? Yeah, I don't know what this version is. I'm going to have to find my other version because this is already changing. I got to find the other version. The point of this story is this, as it does say here that Abraham's father, Terah, was Nimrod's right-hand man. It comes a point in the story where, Abraham's sent away right now. In the version I'm going to get, in that cave that he's at, he's with Shem and Noah. All right, so that's how Nimrod was around when Noah was around. Shem was around when Nimrod was around. So and this comes from a Jewish scripture too. And that one, Abraham gets trained by them and talk to them about the Creator and stuff. So, and then when Abraham comes back home, it's almost like the other story, the apocalyptic of Abraham. That's like that story where it almost takes from that story. And then, but he meets Nimrod, and then he says to his dad, "Why are we worshiping these things that can't do anything for us?" You heard that part. And he goes to Nimrod, says the same thing, and then he goes to Nimrod, is like, "Why are you doing this to my people?" And I wish I could find that damn version. I don't know. I hate how they change stuff. See, this is how the world always changes. That's why sometimes if you believe that the book is the answer, then you're mistaken. You're mistaken, right? Even in Abraham's story, right? He was looking at everything. He looked at the books of the day. He was looking at the gods of the day. He saw his dad do some stuff, right? Maybe they had a Saint Mary statue and the head fell off. And, I know people that could carve soap, and do carving stuff. So maybe they carved something else and pasted the head on top of that one. Hey, I can see it happening. But it's a good point. Hey, that's all we're doing. We're just taking the head of this God and putting it on top of this body that you made fresh. And you had you made it, right? Almost like the Creator made us. So you got to give respect to it's almost like respecting all the world in general. You have to give respect to everyone in the world. It can't be You can't say, oh, it's all about me, because sooner or later that's going to affect you somehow, some way, right? That's why you got to be, that's why, just like, there was there's this show. I don't know if it went to season 2, but there's a show called Nightfall. It was on the History Channel. I think it might have only got to 2 seasons, and I'm not sure if they're coming out with another one. I did not that long ago read up on it, but let me tell you something. I couldn't even believe that was a show. All right, this is about the Knights of the Templar and their dedication to God and their fight, right? And they saw the corruption within the Pope and stuff like that, right? It's like, wow, I can't believe they just showed this on it. Like, they showed the Pope chasing the Holy Grail, and this is what's going to happen, and we have control over all the countries. Like, no way it said that. Yes, it did. Craziness. That's why with the Viking show too. You watch the Viking show, like it's not only in a book, like it's a general concept. And if you can't grasp onto the concept, then there's something wrong, and you need to just listen. In my life, I forgot everything I know a lot of times. I emptied my cup so many times. Like, there's so many times I just tried. I tried hard not to believe in Jesus. I tried hard to be atheist type, like not even believe in a God. Right? I even told you a story last video about the tragedy with my sister and stuff, and I went on a rampage against God. Like, it was like, no, hell no, this is bullshit. Why would you do this? Like, it happens, right? Your emotions and stuff get the best of you, and he never let me go. He kept me in his arms the whole time, right? But I'm almost 100%. It wasn't the Yahweh God of the Bible. It can't be, because yes, everything has to come to pass. So that means war has to come to pass. Unfortunate things have to come to pass. All this has to come to pass. Right? But then what will be the good news? Right? I asked somebody this the other day too. Like, what is the good news? What's the good news? Tell me what the good news is. And if you don't get a chance to read anything or anything like that, then what's the good news? The good news is life goes on. You mean something. You are something. You're a powerful something. You're made by the creator of everything. Right? Just like everything is made by that same creator. So he has love for everything. There's no reason he's choosing things, right? In the Old Testament, he denies a couple people groups, the Moabites. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I'm not sure, but when, what's his damn name? When the nephew of Abraham and his two daughters got mixed up, and they walked away from Sodom and Gomorrah when it got blown up. The daughters thought it was the end of the world, had some freaky with daddy, had some babies, and he cursed those babies, right? But then those groups are a part of Jesus' bloodline. Like, why would the he's not a liar, right? He's not a liar. So why would he say one thing and then do another thing? He doesn't do that. But man would do that. 100%. Man would definitely, to a sports person wearing their same dirty ass socks as like that's a lucky, or one of the sport praying to the sports gods, or whatever the case is. Like, we all do something. We're all looking for, right? It's almost like, how can I believe anything if I can't touch it? How do you know you're not touching it? That's like it's almost like when you read, especially like deep religions, and they talk about God is unseen and he's the invisible God. He's not. How could he be? He said, I want to be with you. I want to walk with you. I want to be with you. I want to be one with you. Right? I just need you I gave you free will so you can make that choice on your own, because the prosecutor, Satan over here, is saying you don't love life. You rather have the vanities of life than love life. Like, what is our mission? What is anybody's mission? Why do you go to, why are you trying to be successful? Why are you trying to be comfortable in life? What is that comfortability? What, is the comfortability? Yeah, I want to go to work every day. I want to, do this. And is that do you want to just be an ant marching? Or do you is your end game, or if you had it your way, if you had one wish, would it be to be on a beach and just relaxing with your kids walking around and they're enjoying stuff and you're just exploring and looking at things, but you're taking care of, food is there, water's there, right? That's my dream, right? That's my heavenly place. That's the mansion hopefully Jesus picked out for me. right? Because that's where I just want to be chill. I just want to be chill. I want a big ass barbecue every day, so to speak. Like all of us are chilling, having fun, enjoying each other, not worrying about who's mad at who or who's at war with who or why is there even war in the first place if we're all the same and we all bleed red and everyone dies and there's a representative of every race, nation, religion, and everything in every position that is possibly called a position in the whole world. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. The world is not earth. The world they're referring to is us. Right? In the Old Testament days, or when Alexander the Great was on his march, or Genghis Khan was on his march, or anyone else in history was on, Napoleon, Hitler, whoever's on their march, they have no regard for life. If it's even true. Like that, like even if it's true, we don't like we're believing someone else, right? Unless you got a family ancestry line and you got a diary floating from hundreds of years ago up to you, and you're reading this book and you're like, oh, that's what happened, right? You maybe, but that's not what really anybody has. All right, a couple like Hitler. I just watched the video again because I mentioned this on the video the other day. The propaganda of making propaganda that can't be proven or disproven to control the masses. They made it more seem like it was a military tactic, almost like Cold War. You just make some rumors up, make the enemy chase something, spend all their money, go bankrupt, and just boom, they blow up on themselves. Right? It's almost like the art of war. The art of war is not having to throw a punch, just make them do it themselves. Shit, like that's why I say all the time, no war has ever been won by the good guy. No war has been won, but besides Jesus, that war was won, and that war was a war that you don't even comprehend, because even like in Jesus, and I'm not bringing up Jesus to refer to anything in Christianity, just like when Jesus said, like it's not. Sometimes you just can't stop. That's the point. Right? Jesus said, if the world hated me, once you awaken from the BS that you're within, it's going to hate you too. And unless you're living a life that almost like the world is hating what you're saying and no one's really agreeing with you because you're only promoting life. Just like I think I went on a little rant in my last few videos. Like I'm talking, like hopefully this comes across something, right? No matter if I die or not, I'm not doing this for any type of recognition. I could give two damns, right? Because I'm not looking for the world's recognition for anything I do in life. I'm only looking for the truth. And the truth is a mirror, is almost like a mirror image of what's really going down. Right? That's why in scripture, Peter was hung upside down. And that's one of the few that really of his disciples that we know about that was crucified. And he was crucified upside, him and his wife. I'm pretty sure the scripture says him and his wife was upside down. Why? Because Jesus was flipping the world upside down. It's not about authority to another person. Am I saying a group of people making decisions for a group of people is wrong? No, as long as the majority, it ain't even about majority, as long as it benefits everyone. Period. Everyone, period. Like, it's as simple as that. It's almost like everyone. It's not even, just like the good news. The good news is this isn't real. That's the good news. The good news is everything that you feel is messed up. Everything that's hurting you. Everything that's making you feel depressed. Everything that's making you feel sad. Maybe even suicidal. All the medications we're taking. All the things is only set up to make you not believe in the creator of it all. Right? And you only have to look at nature. I say it all the time. Man didn't make hot water. Man didn't make drinking water. Man didn't make food. Man didn't make anything, but yet man claims it and holds it from others for a price. Right? When Jesus in the scripture went and was like flipping over the tables and stuff like that, and he said, why do you make my father's house a den of thieves? Jesus's house wasn't the temple. Because if it was, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have said or predicted that it would be torn down brick by brick. Not a brick will be standing, and it happened. Like, I'm not like the world, right? Jesus's church was the world. It wasn't what Paul said, and let's go over here. And not that that's a bad idea, but look in the churches, right? 30 roughly 38% of what a church takes in is for the staff and for the salaries and for things like that. A little 12%, maybe 10-12% is for the facilities, and then you got your 7% for little programs, and there's a percentage factor. And then after that whole percentage of what makes that run, so to speak, then that small percent is almost like the Salvation Army. Do research on the Salvation Army, because it's all public information, and you'll see that. And I'll give them a high number. I'll say 30%, but I know it's nothing near 30% that you give to the Salvation Army that they give back. Right? Their highest executive makes 6 figures. So what is, like, come on. Everything in the world is only higher in price because of people anyway, because of raises, right? Nothing changed in the ingredients of making bread. Nothing changed while making cheese. Nothing has changed. Right? The only thing that is different in any process nowadays, drug dealing, making food, pharmaceutical companies, I put that in the same category as drug dealing. They're cutting it with something. Right? That's why you're looking for gluten-free and organic, because the other stuff is cut with other things that may cause cancer, may cause issues, may cause sickness. Right? Especially if you look at it that way. Because it's just like voodoo. It don't really work unless you truly believe it. But that's that's a whole different level. Just think, like, right? Just like today was about Abraham. What about Abraham? Look into it deeper, right? I led you something from the Apocrypha of Abraham. I could probably even read you from the book of Jasper, but I can't confirm that book. Like, they think this book is made up from like the 17th century or something, or 16th century. I know this Nimrod story is in a couple other things. Right, look into it. There's more outside of is more about Abraham and the 12 tribes of Israel within these other books. The book of Jasper talks a lot about Israel. What is it? Then we got also, I think, the 12 patriarchs. The 4th book of Maccabees, that's Jewish history. Yeah, the testaments of the 12 patriarchs, that breaks down each tribe individually. What Jacob, Israel, said to his sons before they died, and what their family roots would cause. See, like, for example, here's one about Gad. Gad was a son of Gad, the 9th son of Jacob, and Zipporah, which was one of the slave chicks. Shepherd and strong man, but a murderer at heart. Verse 25 is a notable definition of hatred. I'm pretty sure he was one of the sons. When his sister got raped, he went and killed everyone in the village or something. They killed all the people, or they tricked him and then killed him. They made him make a covenant with him to be circumcised. The people did it, and then the guy that raped his sister was a prince or something that just like was in love with her or something, but she wasn't feeling it. He just wanted to take it because that's what usually royalty kids kind of do. Just imagine all the women in college and stuff that have been mistreated by other students, and no one said a word. They might have paid her off. Like, come on. It's almost like back in Michael Jackson, they thinking he's a pedophile. Really? Because listen, if Michael Jackson did some shit to my kids, let me tell you something. I'm taking the Netherlands then. I'm not settling out of court for 10 mil. And plus, put yourself in Michael's shoes, so to speak. This dude was famous since he was like born. You said this dude never had a life. He probably was a kid in his mind forever. But if you look deep into some of his songs, like Billie Jean and stuff, he's giving you a message or something. Tell you that much. See, that's why, like, the Bob Dylans of the world or the John Lennons, you got to watch their lyrics. That's why they were so criticized at their time. That's why they try to paint a different picture of who Michael Jackson would be, because they don't want you man in the mirror. What the hell do you think that means? What? I gotta be looking at that man in the mirror. I'm looking at the man. I don't remember all the lyrics, but the point being, he was telling us something, right? He's at a plateau. They don't want it. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do. Actually, let me look this, because I wanted to do a little video on this, but I'm gonna just put it at the end of this one. I don't know if you know the story of chapter 22. Let me see. All right, yeah. So look, this is a prophet or a man of God, but he's a crooked man of God, right? Just like the other video, I was talking about Samuel and his two sons that was kind of like telling people, oh, that dove's not good enough, buy our dove, then give us that dove for a sacrifice type of stuff so they can make some money on the side. So now, like the Israelites are doing their thing, marching into their thing. So then the Israelites traveled to the plains of Moab and camped along the Jordan across from Jericho. Now Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was terrified because they were so many people. Indeed, Moab was filled with dread because of the Israelites. The Moabites said to the elders of Midian, this horde is going to lick up everything around us as an ox licks up the grass of the field. So Balak, son of Zippor, who was the king of Moab at the time, sent messengers to summon Balaam, son of Beor, who was at Pethor near the Euphrates River in his native land. Balak said, a people has come out of Egypt. They covered the face of the land and have settled next to me. Now come and put a curse on these people because they are too powerful for me. Perhaps then I will be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land. For I know that whoever you bless is blessed and whoever you curse is cursed. So that he's saying, he's saying to Balaam, hey, I acknowledge that you're a man of God. And I know that when you bless something, you bless it. And when you curse something, it's cursed. So can you come curse these people for me, right? The elders of Moab and Midian left, taking with them the fee of divination. When they came to Balaam, they told him what Balak had said. Spend the night here, Balaam said to them, and I will report back to you with the answer the Lord gives me. So the Moabite officials stayed with him. God came to Balaam and asked, who are these men with you? Balaam said to God, Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, sent me this message. A people that has come out of Egypt covers the face of the land. Now come and put a curse on them for me. Perhaps then I will be able to fight them and drive them away. But God said to Balaam, do not go with them. You must not put a curse on those people because they are blessed. The next morning, Balaam got up and said to Balak's officials, go back to your own country, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you. So the Moabite officials returned to Balak and said, Balaam refused to come with us. Then Balak sent other officials, more numerous, more distinguished than the first. They came to Balaam and said, this is what Balak, son of Zippor, says. Do not let anything keep you from coming to me, because I will reward you handsomely and do whatever you say. Come and put a curse on these people for me. But Balaam answered them, even if Balak gave me all the silver and gold in his palace, I could not do anything great or small to go beyond the command of the Lord my God. Now spend the night here so that I can find out what else the Lord will tell me. That night God came to Balaam and said, since these men have come to summon you, go with them, but do only what I tell you. You know what? If you read the Bible, like this has changed. And this is the what version of the Bible? This is the NIV. And I'm pretty sure my NIV doesn't say this. Let me see. Because Balaam didn't listen to God. That's the whole donkey story. So crazy. And then they talking about, the book is the inherent word of God. There's no errors. We don't never change it. You change it all the damn time. Oh, we got to change it to modern day. Why? The message should be the same no matter what. Should be the same no matter what. Let me see something. All right. There's a little target. All right, so it says it in here too. All right, so we'll keep it there. All right. Let me see something. All right, and do what I tell you, right? So then Balaam's donkey. Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the Moabite officials. But God was very angry when he went. So why would God see two gods, right? The devil comes in his light of glory because he's a he's a son of God too, but he knows how to use that light, and here he comes with his light. So anyway, all right, he went, and the angel of the Lord, but God was very angry when he went. And the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. Balaam was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand, it turned off the road into a field. Balaam beat it to get it back on the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path through the vineyards with the wall on both sides. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it pressed close to the wall, crushing Balaam's foot against it. So he beat the donkey again. Then the angel of the Lord moved on ahead and stood in a narrow place where there was no room to turn, either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it laid down under Balaam, and he was angry and beat it with his staff again. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and it said to Balaam, "What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, "You have made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now." The donkey said to Balaam, I am not your own donkey, which you have always ridden to this day. Have I been in the habit of doing this to you? No, he said. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in a road with his sword drawn. So he bowed low and fell face down. The angel of the Lord asked him, "Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? I have come here to oppose you because your path is a reckless one before me. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If it had not turned away, I would certainly have killed you by now, but I would have spared it." Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned. I did not realize you were standing in the road to oppose me. Now, if you are displeased, I will go back." The angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but speak only what I tell you." So Balaam went with Balak's officials. And then when Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the Moabite town on the Arnon border at the edge of his territory. Balak said to Balaam, "Did I send you on an urgent summons? Why didn't you come to me? Am I really not able to reward you?" "Well, I have come to you now," Balaam replied, "but I can't say whatever I please. I must speak only what God puts in my mouth." Then Balaam went with Balak to Kirath Huzoth. Balak sacrificed cattle and sheep and gave some to Balaam and the officials who were with him. The next morning, Balak took Balaam up to Bamoth Baal, and from there he could see the outskirts of the Israelite camp. Balaam said, "Build me 7 altars here and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me." Balak did as Balaam said, and the 2 of them offered a bull and ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, "Stay here beside your offering while I go aside. Perhaps the Lord will come to meet you. Whatever he reveals to me, I will tell you." Then he went off to the barren height. God met with him, and Balaam said, "I have prepared 7 altars, and on each altar I have offered a bull and a ram." The Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, "Go back to Balak and give him this word." So when he went back to him and found him standing beside his offering with all the Moabite officials, then Balaam spoke his message. "Balaam brought me from Aram, the king of Moab, from the eastern mountains. Come," he said, "curse Jacob for me. Come, denounce Israel. How can I curse those whom God has not cursed? How can I denounce those whom the Lord has not denounced? For the rocky peaks I see them, from the heights I view them. I say, a people who live apart and do not consider themselves one of the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob, or the number even a fourth of Israel? Let me die the death of righteous, and may my final end be like theirs." Balak said to Balaam, "What have you done to me? I brought you to curse my enemies, but you have done nothing but bless them." He answered, "I must not speak what the Lord puts in my mouth." Right? Then here comes again. Balak said to him, "Come with me to another place where they do the same routine." And then God put words in Balaam's mouth again. And then Balak, he hits him again with one. He says, "Arise, Balak, and listen. Hear me, son of Zippor. God is not human that he should lie, not a human being that he should change his mind. Does he speak and then not act? Does he promise and not fulfill? I have received the command to bless. He has blessed, and I cannot change it. No misfortune is seen in Jacob, no misery observed in Israel. The Lord their God is with them. The shout of the king is among them. God brought them out of Egypt. They have the strength of a wild ox. There is no divinity divination against Jacob, no evil omens against Israel. It will now be said of Jacob and of Israel, see what God has done. The people rise like a lioness. They rouse themselves like a lion that does not rest till it devours its prey and drinks the blood of its victims. Then Balak said to Balaam, neither curse them at all nor bless them at all. Balaam answered, did I not tell you, I must do whatever the Lord said. Right, so I think he does it one more time, the third message, but it's a point. So the point is, no matter what the book, no matter what the literature, right, even if it's pushed towards against God, it's still right. Like, isn't there in the scripture it says all scripture can be used for correction, reproof, right? So what does that mean? So that means everything written down can be used as an example of a lesson or an example of a blessing, right? I think the 66 books of the Bible should be more pointed out on the like the moral of that story, right? Doesn't that make sense? We should know because that's what it truly is. It's someone trying to explain the Father to us in their own way. The problem is, no matter how we try to explain it, it's never going to give it justice because we only know what we know, what we see, because we choose only to know what we know. We don't choose to go beyond it. So once you go beyond it, once you find that middle way, it's a difference. It's a totally different outlook. It's a totally different everything, right? Because now you don't just see good and evil. You can see the guy that did some bad stuff and be like, you know what? I can understand. Right? Maybe he was misdirected. Maybe he was misguided. You think gangs are just gangs? Like, also, hey, there's a gang over here and they're passing out pamphlets? And that gives them authority, so to speak? No. It's the circumstances that the people are in that make them think that there's no other way to go but to that gang for support and family. And I'm not saying that gang doesn't bring that support and family. It's just the corrupted system, just like everything else is corrupted. Right? Democrats and Republicans, right? Isn't it a blue and red thing? I'm just saying. Oh my God. I'm just saying. Right? Isn't it? Right? One of them is blue and one of them is red. All right, just check them. That's how much nothing is new under the sun. Like, you wake up and realize that what you think, like deep down, because I know, listen, everyone knows the truth. It's just within us, it's either going to be produced as arrogance or ignorance. What does that mean? Arrogant, that you know everything and no one else knows nothing, right? Or you feel as other people are more stupid than you, like dumber than you are, right? That's arrogance. Or ignorance, knowing that we could help, but there's a law or some written thing that we got to go through a process to help. Like John Q, the movie, right? Like John Q, he had to jump through all these hoops, he gave everything he possibly could, and it still wasn't enough to save his son. So he had to go to an extreme to save his son, which is crazy, right? You shouldn't have to do that, period, because that's not what life is. That's the sinful life we live. That's what it is. People know what is causing things. Trust me. All right? Think about it like this. A computer. You have a computer. I have a computer, actually. I have a few computers. But my one that I just replaced is old. It's from like 2000 and something, 2003. I have never had a problem with that computer. It was running my music stuff. And I never wanted it on the internet. Because I know the internet always corrupts a computer for some strange reason. Okay, I have no problems with that computer. I could plug that computer in right now and it still work the same. Okay? Now, granted, it ain't going on the internet, but my programs never had problems where when I go to studios and stuff and record, and sometimes it gets too hot or whatever the case is, and it shuts down or something happens, they got a virus. Listen, someone's making the virus so they can sell the antivirus ware. The hell? Come on. Like, and what does that make you? So that should give you a big hint of truth, right? The creator did not create you to be all messed up like they make us think that we're messed up. That we need to go here, we need to do this, we need to eat this certain thing, we need to do that certain thing, we need to do whatever they say we need to do. How do they even know? Come on. It's like diets. Do all diets work? Do it? Because most of the time when you see it before and after, is an actor portrayal anyway. And maybe it did work for a few. Doesn't work for all. That's the point. It got to be for the all. For the all this division, all this because you're this or because you're that, certain things hit you this way. They're lying, man. Science already said we're 99.9% the same, each and every one of us. So come on, please. Like, and if you feed into that stuff, that's why we're living the life we live in, because we be ignorant to the truth. Right? Just like this dude with Balaam, right? Ignorant to the truth. He just wanted to make some money in essence. Yeah, I'm gonna go chill out with Balak. He's gonna give me some money. But God's like, no, don't go. But then there's another guy saying go. And then there's another guy saying, no, I told you I didn't want you to go. Right? Come on. Are we playing a game with God? Let's listen. Or did we invent God? Just like, look, and what I just read with Abraham, that's his whole world is unveiling in front of his face. Right? He sees his dad mend some. He sees his dad make some statues. He goes out. He sells the statue. He sees the effect that those statues had on the foreigners that he came across. Oh, you should have told us before. The donkey squealed and broke the other. We'll pay for it all. Full price. We don't want to disrespect anything. Come on. We're not like, come on. Don't believe the hype, so to speak. Right? Don't. Be free, be truly free. And I promise you, just like Jesus' life that's portrayed to us in the 4 Gospels, there was other times that they tried to kill Jesus. And the Father was like, now's not the time, so keep it moving. Period. Right? There was a point where, right, wasn't Paul and Barnabas in jail, or Peter, I think, and the cells opened up and they stayed anyway. Right? Hey, we're here for God. We're not here for you. We're not here to run away. We're here to stand tall. Right? When David came into the Goliath situation, he said, oh, what the hell? Oh, y'all punks? Hey, brothers, you're punks? Come on, I'm the little dweeby one, the little redheaded frail kid. Sal. Come on, King Sal. You're bigger than all of us. What? I thought you were a great warrior. You're like almost the same size as Goliath. You can't go out there and fight? You know what? I'll do it. Don't worry. Y'all, you know what? I don't know what God y'all believing in. I'm going home. Okay. I done fought a lion. I done fought a bear. Right? Who was the underdog? Come on. Like, sure, he was scrawny. Sure, he was this little scrawny kid. Okay. Sure. He still had that confidence. Still had that confidence. Had that confidence to step up to the challenge. To step up and know where he came from. To step up. And he stepped up. David stepped up. Just like Joseph. We're going to go over Joseph because a lot of people compare Jesus to Joseph, but they're still not catching on to the message, right? Jesus said, love your enemies. What did Joseph do to his brother? He loved his enemy. He could have, man, he was in a position. He could have wrote, man, what? They would have been building the pyramids by themselves. He could have did that. Okay. He was in charge of all of Egypt. Joseph then made a position that he's in control of all of Egypt. Even the Pharaoh was like, hey, can I get $20? Okay. That's how much control he had. Pharaoh's like, yo, you're the man. You take my bank and take control over everything. I'm going to just chill. Do you. I know we're going to be blessed because you're in charge. Period. And that's not even, that didn't give, like, and that's not even, Joseph didn't take the authority like the Pharaoh took his authority. And even that Pharaoh was a different Pharaoh because he let his authority go. Said, you know what? Authority's on Joseph, guys. Authority's on Joseph. And there's Egyptian things about Joseph and his Egyptian name. So I'm just saying, like, right? And that's a comparison to Jesus with Joseph in the Old Testament. And Joseph just took it like it came, went to jail. He got accused of false things. But he stood true. He said, be who you are, then no one can hurt you. Stand strong with truth. No strings for others to work with. You are who you are. So own who you are. Just don't own who you think you are because someone molded you into thinking who you think you are. Right? We are not the smartest generation in the world. I don't care what E equals MC squared or not. This is knowledge. Listen, I can make a knowledge too. I can make a language. I can make an alphabet. And I don't even have to use letters that I know. I use some dots or some slashes, or whatever. I could just start making sounds, create my own, right? Any of us can create your own. Twins do that, right? When certain twins that are really like connected, spiritually connected, they have this language that they only can speak to themselves. No one understands what the hell they talking about, but they understand what they talking about. I'm pretty sure you came across, you had a good friend or something where, you say that thing jinx and everybody's saying the same thing. You're on the same mind state at that level. Or you just know that person that well, husband, wife, spouse, partners, whatever the hell is going on here. You know each other that well. You can answer questions for each other. That's like-mindedness. So why can't we as people get like-minded in that everyone has life? Everyone deserves life. Everyone deserves a chance. Most of all the wicked things that happen in our world is because of the holdback from those people that really know the truth that rather hold back. Those people that rather own all the apple orchards. God knows who they bought them from. I guess they bought them from God, but own all these fruit things or farm, whatever you own, God blessed you with that. It wasn't the government that blessed you with that. This was around before there was a government. Dang. Like, come on, world, listen. The second coming of Christ is within you, because sooner or later, people like me or people like, I'll throw some names out, Global Witness, Kingdom of Truth. Just look up Deuce and they'll put you in sync with other. Alan Watts, he died in like the 70s. He's a good guy that'll explain a lot of stuff to you. Sanguru, he's an Indian dude. I'm pretty sure he's stationed in Tennessee, but then he also is out in India too. He does a lot of good things. He has a lot of knowledge. Just look deep. Like there's a lot of truth within everything, but it all comes together as truth. The reason why we go through the things we go through and the world is at the state that it's in is because we won't realize these truths unless we go through it. Seriously. We won't realize these truths unless we go through it. Unless we go through it ourselves. How could we? Right? Let's say, and I'm going to end it with this. Let's say there's some kind of cure made, right? Some kind of cure. And so there's some kind of cure. I'm trying to get a good example. Like, all right, yeah. So there's let's say Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates comes out with, because he does do that stuff too. Like there's rumors that he came up with a vaccine that killed a whole bunch of African babies, but look into that. Anyway, they come up with a thing, okay? Come with this cure. But the person or people group that is in charge of manufacturing this cure knows the cure doesn't work. But they sell it anyway. They give it anyway. Maybe it's even going to do something harmful to you. They give it to you anyway. That group, that person knows what they're doing. Right? And they may even blame it on something else. But there's someone that knows the truth. Right? I'm not saying, listen, some people don't know the truth. Some people are just doing their job, right? Because that's what we're taught. Do your job, respect authority, all these things, right? So when you get a job, I signed on for this job. You got to keep your word and you do good at the job. And you respect your boss and you do what he tells you to do because he's putting food on your table, so to speak. Right? And we do that. So yes, is there a doctor out there that doesn't have a clue and is only taught what he's taught and he's just practicing what he's taught? Absolutely. Is there a lawyer that's out there like, damn, this law thing really isn't working out too good? Is there? Yes, Absolutely. Right? And there's one out there like a prosecutor, and he's going hard, and he won every case, and he's like in line to be the next DA, right? Like Law Abiding Citizen, the movie Law Abiding Citizen, right? So the movie Law Abiding Citizen was just that is a good example, right? So now there's this lawyer, he doesn't really, he settles out. He's like, oh, we're just gonna make a plea deal. He lets the murderer go with a 3-year bid. He puts the other guy that didn't do anything on a lethal injection. Right? You got a judge screaming at people, get off your phone, I hold you in contempt, because that's how judges get. Watch a A&E thing, court cam. I'm surprised they even showing the corrupted ass judges. Right? Looking into it. Like you'll see. And this is what we give authority to. And then we say, oh, is that policy? I can't really go. What policy? That's a written thing that doesn't mean shit. Sorry. Literally. Right? This is something that can be erased, changed. Are you serious right now? So that line and the rule affects life. Come on. It's almost like thinking, back in the day, they used to really have programs in prison as far as like reform, right? Like making them better, trying to rehab them into being better citizens, right? Now they could give 2 dams. Why? Because they need that flow. $38,000 a year per prisoner. What? That's the average. Seriously, look it up yourself. This got to be public information. Okay? Come on. And then they're more safer than you. They get more medical treatment. Everything is there for them. Wow. But the homeless guy is on the street. He can't even get a tooth pulled. Got all the veterans that come over here, went over, fight our war, and come back home and have nothing. But this prisoner... we got what you got? You got diabetes, we're going to give you insulin. Where you got HIV, we're going to give you medicine. Oh, where you got cancer, we're going to take that out. Come on, man. For a prisoner, like I'm not saying you love your enemy. So understand what I'm saying, right? If we can do that for a prisoner, there should be no problem in 2021 that everyone is getting food. Everyone has a place to live. There's so many abandoned places, so much property that ain't used, so much everything. And there's so much more of it. Like we think we're all condensed in these little cities and towns and stuff. There's so much land out there that's not even funny. Not even fun, but there's homeless and hungry. Come on. Jobless now, right? There's so many people losing jobs right now. Come on. Like you got to understand, it don't matter who's elected into office. It doesn't matter who's what and when's where. It's powers and principalities got control everything. That's what Jesus is telling you about. He's trying to wake you up from. They even killed him to prove the point. He never said he was king of the Jews, but they put it on top of his head. They put a crown of thorns. Why? Because you can't think like him. Right? Jesus said, once you get it, you'll do greater things than me. What does that mean? Do you ever ask yourself that? Do you ever ask yourself, why did Jesus say God or money? Right? He said, give Caesar's what is Caesar, give God's what is God's. What is God's? And if God is everything, everything is God's. But more importantly, that money ain't God's, because you ain't going to you don't need a degree in heaven. Right? You don't need a degree in the afterlife. You don't, maybe if you want to believe Egyptian, because they buried everybody with the person that was going to heaven, maybe. Who knows? But the shit's still here. All the bones are here. I just saw a special on history, I think, with King Tut. I think was it King Tut? King somebody. I gotta watch it again. But all the weapons and stuff. He had chariots broken down, like there was a mechanic on the other side, or maybe he brought one of the mechanics with him that go and put it together on the afterlife. But it's still here. It's still on this side of death. Or life, I should say. This is death, because that's the only outcome, right? That should be the key to everything. Your life is so much more important than death. And Jesus is telling you there is no death. It's a mirage. It's a mirage. It's an illusion. Look at the new Marine commercial. The new Marine commercial is saying just that. It's got the dude standing in front of a hologram, and all these different versions of him is going off in a hologram. He's like, when do you want to get out of the illusion and then join the Marines? Watch that. Watch it. It's got to be on YouTube or something. Look for a new Marine commercial. That was insane. They'll tell you the world is an illusion so you can join the military. Oh, man. Listen, sometimes we're crazy. And we just don't realize, like we just, it's just crazy what we're all fighting for our right to live. That's crazy enough. You're fighting for your right to exist. So you're fighting for a law to pass so you can exist. So you have the same equal rights as everyone else. And this, that, and the third, you're fighting for this. And you don't see the delusion in that. You don't see the evil plot in that. You don't see the evil plot. They got us fighting for what we were fighting against. Now they got us fighting for it. Look into American Indian reservations and stuff, and where groups are coming in taking over. They take over from within. They convince American Indian groups to go above and beyond their group to control their group. I'm telling you, everything's a choice. By the way, everything is a choice. So if you believe that you're not making a choice, you're making a choice. Every day of your life, every second, you're making a choice. Every day. So you have the choice. You have the choice to either lay down and give authority or not lay down. Simple as that. It's like mark of the beast. When they come at the mark of the beast, which I think we live already, they come at with the mark of the beast, no deal. Kill me. I can't. I'm not letting my kids kill me. If that's the route you want to take, do it. Right? That's what Jesus did. He took that route. He said, all right, I give myself over willingly. Do you. Because this is gonna stake me in the future. So do you. Put me up on that cross. Right? And everyone started chanting, kill him. Come on. Wow. Everyone killed Jesus. Trust me. No one likes the free because then you don't make nothing. Right? I'm not saying there are not good people out there that will give their shirt off their back. But the majority will not give their shirt off their back. When coronavirus first hit, there was no toilet paper on shelves. Watch the movie War of the Worlds and look at the moral of the movie. People were thinking about themselves. Right? They done ripped his daughter out of the car, pulled a gun on him to take his van. Come on. This is what we really, that's our true nature in essence. That's the true flesh nature. And we need to get out of that nature. We need to get above that nature. We don't need to step on people to get us free, right? Like the movie 2012. The one guy in the ark was like, close the gates. The other guy's all those people out there. He's ready to go. Well, listen, we're all going to die if we let them in. Then we all die then. All or nothing. God has that power. The creator has it. So if this is the route, period. I'm done. Right? That only makes sense. Because how am I putting my life above this life? We got shows about pay money, donate money for the animals. We care more about the damn animals. We'll give somebody some mean licks because they eat a certain animal. Oh, you eat possum? Oh, you eat rat? Food is food. I don't eat none of that stuff. I would probably just go, like, if I had to, honestly, if I was like I wouldn't mind living in the woods. I might just start to that. Like, if there's no berries and stuff on trees, like, I'm gonna try to eat grass or like that's the only thing I got. I don't think I could kill anything. I'm definitely not skinning shit. I don't even know if I could trust it if I could cook it. Like, I'm not, like, I watch these shows and I'm like amazed, but I don't even know if I could do it. Like, I don't even kill insects right now. Like, yes, I will. Like, if there's a spider, I usually let the spider live as long as it's not violating the personal space, or I put them on a napkin, throw them outside. That's it. Peace out. Ants, I might crush an occasional ant. I try not to. So I try to keep them just out, so I don't even have to deal with that aspect. But listen, all life is relevant, right? Without flies, we wouldn't know shit stinked or stuff was dead. Like, certain insects do certain things. Right? It lets us know. Roaches, if the roach is running away, it may be an earthquake or something, right? I guess. I don't know. If you don't see no insects, that might be a problem too. Oh shit, ain't no insect. There's a problem. The insects bounce. You're still here. Right? Just like animals. When the tsunamis and stuff, the animals were out way before the humans even noticed. There's a big wave. The animals are like 20 miles already down the island. They ain't even beat. Okay? Not saying none of them got stuck up in there, but I'm just saying the wild ones was out. They wasn't beat. I'm out. And they're wild. Ain't no human, no human helped them or nothing. It's just not a domestic, yes, right? We domesticate these animals, we make them our slaves, so to speak. That's like, and they show emotion, right? You got a cat, you got a dog, they show emotion, they wag their tail, they're happy to see you, they're sad when you're gone, they're whining at the door, they cuddle with you. Like, come on, man. Everyone has an emotion, everyone has a heart, everyone wants a purpose. Right? Everyone wants a purpose. Everything wants a purpose. Right? And I don't know. Science may be creating stuff. Florida already made this new mosquito. So who knows? Okay. Like, yes, maybe some, but life is life. Right? And there might be some artificial life. But if you're not that artificial life, then life is life, and you need to ignore all that other stuff. You need to ignore, and I'm not saying ignore it. It's almost like sometimes it bothers me when I go to a funeral and we're at a church and everyone's crying, everyone's sad. And I'm not saying people don't have the right to mourn, right? You gotta mourn. You do get sad in your heart. But if you believe, if you claim Jesus, if you claim the Bible, if you claim I believe in God, then to you there's an afterlife. Right? Jesus died on the cross but rose again where people witnessed it. So, like, I don't did you grasp that part of the story in the Bible? That his boys ran when he got hung on the cross. They ran. No one knows the disciple that was at that foot of the cross. There's only assumptions of who was standing at the foot of that cross besides the women, because the women didn't run. But all his boys ran. They did not start preaching the word again until Jesus showed himself. Did you miss that part of the story? They went into hiding until the point that Jesus rose again, and they started going hard because they saw it. They saw it, right? And they was, oh, you're right. Let's go. Peter got hung upside down on his crucifixion. Let's go. Hang me up. Even look at the early church fathers. There was martyrs and everything that was set up to be martyrs. I'm just saying. So now you got to go deep. Go deep in a lot of stuff. But, Jesus came for all of us no matter what, and was to wake us up. He's the only one that said what he said, right? It's almost like a protest on Martin Luther King's day and a protest today. And I'm not saying nothing crazy broke out when Martin Luther King was protesting. There's always the negative side of everything. But most of the people that were marching with Martin Luther King took the ass whooping, took the hoses, took the dogs, took the cops beating the shit out of them. They took it and kept walking. Jesus took it and kept walking. He did not lash back. He did not fight back. He did not punch them back. Why? Because then you're only fighting against yourself. You're fighting against what you believe. Martin Luther King was about peace, turning the other cheek. Right? Malcolm X hit the scene. He was more affirmative action at first. Let's get them. Arm up. Let's go fighting. Yes, that would get a popular crowd because we all want to be a part of the fight. Right? But then sooner or later, you got to realize the fight don't have to be happening. Someone can literally just say, enough is enough. And more, enough is enough, because the people fighting and dying aren't the people making the decisions. You understand that? Like, the people on the battlefield are on the battlefield. And back in the day, the generals and the kings was on that battlefield with their boys. We're going in this together. The king led the march. Now the leaders are in the background somewhere. Did y'all do it yet? Right? A person has I don't know if I should be doing this, sir. You have an order. Fire. You may not agree, but they're going to make you fire anyway, right? Wasn't that I forgot the whole situation, but that military where the person leaked out the videos of them bombing somewhere in the Middle East, and it was all innocent people. There were kids in a van. Come on. This is what, and that's okay? That's okay? It's almost like 9/11. But 4,000, 5,000 people a lot of people got affected, but people lost their lives. How many people lost their lives on the retaliation? 265,000 people in the Middle East. Women, children, because of what the terrorists do. They leave, right? That's what they tell us. The terrorists leave. They set their mark, say, we're over here, and then they go somewhere else, and then leave the innocent people to die. I'm just saying, everyone's dying on both sides. What peace are we really seeking? Or is it that we're trying to make our ideology everyone else's ideology? Is that what we're doing? Is that why the whole New World Order and stuff is all in this conspiracy? One world currency, one world government. It's already like that. And if you don't, oh my God. Like, listen, in Hitler, in the World War, there's pictures all over the internet. In the World War, all the leaders of the countries that were fighting in the war were a part of the same group. Claimed it. They were at these conferences and stuff together, taking pictures, right? All different degrees of their unit. The guy that started the KKK was a degree in that same unit. Every man, wake up. And more importantly, listen, everything is still going to go to pass. This is what I mean by wake up. Really embrace the good news. The good news is we're not stuck here. I wouldn't say it's bad news. I'll say it's even better news. We have a choice to get the hell out of here in the right way. That's the good news. The good news is we don't have to stay here. And if we see it for what it truly is, and we love one another like we truly should, paradise awaits. Today or tomorrow or whenever that day comes, you and me will be in paradise, chilling. All right, I don't know if they're drinking up there. Maybe we'll sip it on a daiquiri. I don't really drink, but sip on a daiquiri. Something. You know what I mean? Take a surfboard into outer space, so to speak. Like, that's where I'm looking. Like that. What else would the Creator make us for? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we going to explore everything that could be vast and out there? If it's out there, so to speak. Like, because how does anybody really know? And you're gonna tell me telescopes and some guy told you. I hear you. And you read it in the book. I hear you. We read everything in the book. Sometimes you gotta look in your heart. You gotta hear, ears to hear and eyes to see, is seeing the truth. Where the truth needs no recognition, so to speak. It needs no redemption. It needs nothing because it falls right there. Truth is truth. Can't get no higher, lower, not around it. You can't wiggle your room. None of that. But I'll leave it with that. I'm just saying the good news is you mean something. You matter. You're relevant. And you're loved by people out there, right? Talk to people, get to know people, right? If you are racist, go check out the other race, talk to them. Because if you were put in an elevator stuck together, I bet you come out friends. You realize that there's not much different. Okay, he has his traditions. They eat their certain foods at Thanksgiving. Like, come on, it's all different. Maybe give it a try. Give it a try. Believe it or not, like the military kind of, right? You can't be racist in the military. You can be racist, but you can't be racist. Right? In the movie The Patriot, when the black guy was fighting with them, the one white guy was like, why is he here with us? And then he's like, yeah, I'm going for my freedom. And then he found out the black guy was already free and he still was fighting. Saved this guy's life. Come on. You never know. Right? You never know. You never know who's going to help and who's not going to help. You never know, but you want to give back to those that help. Right? And to those that don't want to help, you want to bring them the inspiration and encouragement. Like, yes, it's okay to help, man. Yeah, I know you probably had a bad background. Maybe you had a bad upbringing. Maybe people put these thoughts in your head. But you know what? You don't have to stay like, you have a choice. You have a choice. You have a choice to be what you think you should be, or you have the choice to be truly what you are. And what you are is special to you and to the Father that created you. Not your earthly father that created you, the Father that created us all, because without him, none of this would happen, no matter how you look at it. I don't call that creator God. I call him creator and father, right? I only use the God word for people out there that's used to hearing God, because that's what they mean by it is what I mean by it. It's just that they're looking at a different one. They're looking at a little G. I'm looking at the capital F, and it could be father, mother. I don't know. He's got to be both in essence, but I'm not here to figure it out. I'm here to figure out who he is, get to him, and the only way I can get to him is through love and through knowing that everyone is special, knowing that everyone is worth something, knowing that, even in a company situation, maybe not fire that guy. Maybe see if that guy fits somewhere else. Right? Maybe in that same situation, maybe he did mess up. Let's give him another chance. Because more than likely, half his supervisors are going to church on Sunday. Talking about they follow the teacher of forgiveness. Come on. I'm just saying, you're contradicting yourself. You're going to be one of those that Jesus, when you die, and he's going to be like, hey, I knew you, man. I attached you on my arm, had the cross here, said my prayers every day. Who? What's your name again? What is? Come on. Got to think about that, guys. All right. Hopefully, this reaches people. Be blessed. I love you guys. Wrangler, God bless you too. If you're on or listening, or if you watch it later, I see the message now. And be cool. Tomorrow, I'll probably go back to the Book of Thomas. But every video is always going to be the same message, right? The same message, the good news. The good news is we don't have to be within this for eternity. We're special, and we have a chance. We all have a choice, right? We can ignore the devil, like I said in some of the Abraham stuff I read, and just keep it moving. Or we can listen to the devil, listen to the ego, listen to the jealous thoughts. Why does he have more than me? Why does he have a nicer car than me? Why I should be supervisor? Why did he get promoted? Why shouldn't I make this amount of money? Come on, just live life. Live life, live the experience, be blessed. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.